Well, I've been meaning to do a follow-up video on my tracks here on this machine and give you guys a decent review. So, machine's really dirty, as you can see. It's pretty muddy around here. I purchased these tracks for this wheel machine about a year ago. I got a wheeled machine for a few different reasons. One, I wanted to be versatile as far as being able to go onto pavement and do jobs like that and not damage the road or be able to bounce on over chunks of concrete as opposed to tearing up tracks. So there's a reason I chose the wheel machine for that, and then there's also the price of the wheel machine versus the track machine tend to be a little cheaper. I found a really good deal on this machine and I pulled the trigger. So I went ahead right away and purchased these tracks. I had never used them before, so I didn't really know what to think. I knew that I definitely needed some. I did a little bit of research, found these ones on tracksplus.com. Decent pricing, but I was also looking for something that, I didn't want to spend $5,000 or more, because at that point I should have just got a track machine. But I will say these tracks have been absolutely amazing. I got them for a couple $1,000s new. I did also need wheel spacers for this machine, so those alone were about $500, but they had a package deal right on their website for this exact machine, for the tracks and the spacers. As soon as I put them on, I was amazed by them. It was really muddy around this property. It was basically in the beginning of spring, where we are now, a year later. There was a foot of water, standing water, over in the pond area, I call it, where every year it just kind of pools up. And I was working up at the front of the road, and I was just sinking in, and I could not believe how well these things did. I mean, without them, no doubt I wouldn't even made it across the field, let alone be able to work with them and actually move things around. So, I mean, it did get to a point where it was just so muddy that, I mean, even a normal track machine would have gotten stuck. But I was amazed. I mean, it was night and day difference. So I've been using them the past year all around this property. They've worked amazing. Like I said, I really can't say enough about them. So these ones, they definitely need to be adjusted a little bit and tightened up, but that's kind of normal. So they were really tight when I originally installed them, and obviously they're just done a little bit of stretching and wearing in. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just tighten them up. You really want a specific amount of clearance that they talk about I think 1 to 2 inches or so of play. So I'm going to go ahead, adjust them up, and I really, like I said, I can't say enough about these things. I would not be able to do anything on this property without these. So I really like, I kind of questioned when I first got them that if you sort of look at how these are, they're rounded and smooth, if you will. So I sort of thought, man, are these just going to really like slip around? And they don't. I mean, they compact right into the mud or the dirt, and they grip like crazy. I do have some amount of wheel spin, and that what I've noticed by using these all the time is that if it is really wet, or even just, if it's heavy rain and you got that right amount of type of slippery mud that's starting to form right when the rain first starts falling, the wheels will slip. They won't slip just driving straight or even maneuvering and using the bucket and digging, but I did notice if I'm like on an incline or something like that, they will sort of slip. I did kind of get myself into a position where I went down into the embankment and I couldn't back up. So the wheels were just slipping. I was able to sort of I had this attachment, I was able to push myself out, but that is something to be aware of. I would imagine that brand new tires, these ones are actually in really decent shape, but brand new tires and tighter adjusted tracks will definitely make up for them slipping. So as long as they're adjusted right, you have decent tread on your tires, they're going to work. And I have heard about these things sort of destroying tires, and I didn't know what to how that would play out on these, but really I don't notice any additional wear. I mean, I think it's just because these are made smooth, and that's probably the trade-off, is that, if these had some sort of grip to them, it would do some damage to the tire, but maybe you wouldn't get as much wheel spin. But I would prefer to be able to not destroy these tires, because that would kind of cost a lot more, having to replace tires more often. But yeah, I mean, this is it. Like I said, year later, absolutely love them. Would buy them again if I had to. I actually went on their website. I had an issue where I did, well, I guess that's one thing I should mention, is I did have a rock get flop into these tracks. It's actually happened multiple times. I mean, smaller rocks are okay. It'll actually push in the tire enough. That tire can take a lot of abuse. I've had a few rocks get in there, come all the way around before I noticed, drop back down, and the tire was really pushing in, but didn't pop the tire, didn't pop off the rim. These can handle a lot of abuse, but if you do get a large rock in there, you could potentially do some damage. They do make this profile really high, probably to keep that from happening as much as possible, but rocks do tend to fall in there. So you do have to be careful when you're side swiping a pile of stone or a pile of dirt or something like that. Dirt is no problem because it'll fall in there and fall right through the tracks. But if there's a big rock that rolls in there, which was what happened to me, I had actually a piece of concrete chunk get stuck in there from some fill dirt that was dropped off for our driveway. So I actually had to, it was so jammed in there, I had to actually cut one of the bolts off and disconnect the track that way. I didn't want to reverse or forward and risk damaging something further, so cut one of the bolts off, got the track separated, got the rock out of there, no problem. So I went ahead and purchased just a spare one of these paddles. I purchased some hardware just to have on hand in case that happened. So other than that, that's pretty much it. If you guys got any other questions about them, or I'll probably do another review another year from now and see if I still feel the same way. But for now, definitely love them and highly recommend them. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to us if you haven't already. Lots of cool videos on machinery, site work. We're building a house. So yeah, stay tuned, and we'll see you guys on the next one.